Do you agree with Senator Tillis that it is time for regime change in Iran?
No, I do not. I think the United States should not be in the business of regime change, period. I would hope we would have learned that lesson in Iraq and Afghanistan. We cannot simply pick the leaders of other countries. I think it puts us in a very dangerous position. It undermines our claim that there should be an international system, a rules-based international order, and it's dangerously unpredictable in terms of what comes next. So no, I do not support regime change, and I don't support going to war with Iran, which is what it would be if United States forces bombed Iran.
But Congressman, today, after an Israeli hospital was struck by an Iranian missile, the Israeli defense minister said that Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, cannot be allowed to, quote, continue to exist. Do you agree with him?
I don't. Again, I don't think it's our place and our business to pick the leader of another country. I mean, Israel has a different set of priorities without question in terms of their fight with Iran. And let me be clear, I support what Israel is doing to disrupt Iran's nuclear program, and I support us helping Israel. We've helped them defend against Iranian attacks, and we're certainly monitoring the situation. But for the U.S. to get directly into a war with Iran, I think would be a mistake.
So then if Trump does agree to strike the underground nuclear site in Iran, the Fordo enrichment plant, would that be enough to stop Iran's nuclear program? And then what happens the next day? What does the next day look like if that happens?
Yeah. Well, those are the two crucial questions. And this is the 2 points to understand about why I don't support striking Iran. Number one, most experts also say that even if the strike on the mountain was somewhat successful, it doesn't mean that we would significantly set back Iran's ability to develop a nuclear weapon. Maybe it's months instead of weeks at that point. We don't know what other facilities they have, and centrifuges are easier to put back in place than most people realize. So it wouldn't necessarily stop Iran's nuclear program for decades or anything close to that, number one. And what would happen the next day, Iran would attack U.S. forces in the region. And we have U.S. forces in the region, in Qatar, in Bahrain. We have the 5th Fleet in Bahrain. We have an Air Force base in Qatar. We have bases in Iraq, bases in Syria, all within very close range of an Iranian attack. We would be dragged into a direct conflict with Iran, and there would be damage done to U.S. facilities, and in all likelihood, U.S. casualties.
And Congressman, you mentioned Iraq earlier. In 2002, you did join 80 other Democrats in voting to authorize that war, that invasion of Iraq. You said at the time, quote, Saddam Hussein cannot be allowed to possess nuclear weapons. It is so critically important to the future of our world that we must use force if necessary to accomplish that goal. So I'm wondering, isn't this the precise rationale that the White House and Israel are using now against Iran?
Yeah, no, there's two crucial things about that. First of all, I was wrong. And that's, what I have learned is that it's awful seductive. And you can sit here and say, my gosh, if Iran just had a different government, how great would the world be? If we just made that change, because you can look at all the terrible things that Iran has done, just like you can look at all the terrible things that Saddam Hussein had done. But at that point, I'd been in Congress for 5 years, didn't have the level of experience that I have now. And what I've learned is it's not that simple. You can't simply change a regime and instantly make things better. So that was a mistake, first of all. And second of all, at the time that we took that vote, Iraq was blocking inspectors. But then after we took that vote, they agreed to a coercive inspections regime that very easily could have confirmed that Iraq wasn't building a nuclear weapon. But instead of accepting that as a victory, George W. Bush went to war anyway, which proves that I was also wrong about the motivation behind George W. Bush asking for that resolution in the first place. It wasn't really about stopping Saddam from getting a nuclear weapon. It was about regime change, which I don't think we should support.